Yeah, thank you, Dinesh, for the introduction, and I'm really happy to join today. I have a few slides to share, but I will certainly also probably comment a bit what I heard, which was very interesting from all speakers. Indeed, I would like maybe to start by a short presentation about who we are. Feport is representing both the national associations which are gathering all these stevedoring and private port companies and terminals in different member states. But also we do have direct members who are performing their activities in European ports, and these are mostly regional and global operators, as you see. And this is very useful when it comes to the corporate insights, because we do have an idea on what is actually happening in European ports, but also well beyond the European scope. Just few figures. So it's 1,225 companies, and it's employing 390,000 port workers. And I heard what Bruna said. So the port sector is not only about technology, it's also about employment and about also having this transition towards new generation of jobs, and in taking into account the technology and the innovation that will be introduced in the coming years. Maybe just, I'm sure that everybody knows what is a terminal operator, but just to clarify, most of the time we think about the terminal being focusing only on the seaside, which is the vessels calling the port. But my members are expanding their activities into the hinterland, which means that today the cargo handling part on the seaside is only one part of their activities. There is an important also investment into the improvement of yard operations, but also all intermodal operations to different modes of transport, such as road, rail, but also inland waterways. And I think this is an important element for the topic today. I would like also to say that ports are local, in the sense that we have local constraints, which are sometimes the environmental frameworks, which might be different from one member state to another one, but the service offer is actually of a global nature, in the sense that the cranes are more or less provided by the same port equipment manufacturers, which are most of them global ones. And therefore, there is, I would say, an expectation from the customers, or even from my members, to actually offer a service that is equivalent to what is actually given in outside the EU. Before carrying on maybe to the next gen, the topic today regarding innovation and the next improvement and technologies that will be introduced, I would like first to make a few comments about what I heard. I fully agree with you, Dinesh. There is a silo approach in the maritime industry, and maritime, by maritime, I do not mean only shipping. I mean all the maritime industry with a larger signification. I mean everybody is working in silo. To be a bit blunt, I think that this you see that whenever everybody is concentrating indeed on its own expectation, but there is sometimes a lack of empathy in trying to understand what are the constraints of the other modes of transport. So the ports are more than a parking area. In fact, this is a way, the perception we sometimes have, in the sense that everybody is waiting a lot from the port, but everybody wants to get rid of the cargo or take the cargo from the port, and in fact the port is more complex than that. As you rightly said, it's a diversity of stakeholders. Some of them are public, some others are private, like my members. And my members are also looking for profitability, of course, and they are looking for optimization. They have a vested interest in providing the best service, of course, because this is a commercial service. And of course, anything that comes from technology or innovation is relevant for them, because this will help them to be more efficient, more sustainable, and of course, resilient in these times of crisis. I would like to say also that the port is a node where you see all the inefficiencies of the different modes of transport, in the sense that if you do not have efficient, I would say, or efficient conduct of the operations from one mode of transport, it appears in a port. Why? If I take one example, which is very, which we hear a lot at this moment, it's congestion, for instance. The causes of congestion are not always port related or port. The main reason is not a lack of efficiency in ports. It's also due to the fact that we are relying on other modes of transport which actually bring the cargo or take the cargo. On the seaside, we actually need the vessels to bring the cargo or take the cargo on time in order to be able to avoid any kind of congestion on the yard or on the dock. Same thing on the hinterland side. If the truck or the rail is late, the yard is congested. I think that this is very important to be understood, because technology can only work if you have also commitments from all the parties to actually deliver in terms of efficiency and in terms of communication. And I'm going to give 3 examples where we are trying to actually work with everybody. I mean, we cannot just expect the ports or the port stakeholders to solve all the problems, even when you have delays from upstream or downstream the port segment. I think it's very important to have a good schedule reliability when it comes to the shipping side, for instance. This is absolutely crucial. It's also important that when the trucks show up, they show up on time, and we use this gate management systems, as it was shown by Luca, in the most efficient way. And I think this is what we actually expect. And of course, the homework on the side of my members will also be, we can also have high expectations from them too. So just to conclude on this, I think that it's very important that we stop with the silo approach, and that the expectations are also, I would say, somehow mirrored by some commitments from each party of the chain. When it comes to the solutions, I think that we are very, I agree, the maritime industry in general, I include everybody, it has been very conservative, in the sense that I think that when it comes to automation and digitalization, we are quite late compared to other industries. I have the same diagnosis. But I think things are moving. And when it comes to digitalization, we see that there are, for instance, if I see the TOS, my members are investing a lot in improving their own systems. Each, I think, party of the chain is also trying to do the same. The big question is how we are going to try to coordinate between each other in order to exchange the information, because now I think the efficiency will come from a good data sharing. And as Feport, we are saying that one element of this will be about, first, the cost, because to invest into a system to share data has a cost. So we need to discuss this. What are the benefits for the different parties of the chain? And I think that people are working, a lot of people are working on this, and I'm quite, I would say, optimistic on the fact that data will be shared. We have a lot of initiatives everywhere showing that people are working together. If we look only to the port community systems that already exist in ports, which are in fact allowing a lot of parties to share information about customs related administrative procedures, etc. It's not yet perfect, but we have some initiatives. But we will also, and this is a request we have to the European Commission, we need to have a data, we need to have rules of governance in terms of data sharing, because the issue of data, which is often qualified as the new oil, is an important element, in the sense that if you do not know who is going to use the data, how it is going to be exploited, how the data mining will be done, there is a risk that you will have some monopolies emerging, be it on the private or on the public side. And I think that the idea is not that one party of the chain is actually controlling all the data. We have been supporting, as organizations, the establishment of European Maritime Single Window. I think that it is a good step that has been achieved. Of course, we still don't have this perfect European Maritime Single Window which avoids any kind of paper yet. This is due to the fact that we are 27 member states, probably, and the administration are not yet completely connected. But I think as a first step, combined with the port community systems that are improving, I think that we are on the way. But I agree that we should also probably speed up on that. Now, I would like also to refer to something that helps a lot when it comes to congestion. In some ports, we have what we call the vessel coordination centers, which are meant to optimize the calls of ships when they come to ports. This is something that it was, I think, mentioned in one of the presentations. Actually, the ETAs that we talk a lot about when it comes to the arrival of ships, the estimated times of arrival, are very often sometimes also theoretical ones, in the sense that actually the most important one to be taken into account is the actual time of arrival. And sometimes you have a window which can go well beyond 8 hours of difference, and which makes it actually more problematic when it comes to the optimization of the call. So the vessel coordination centers are there to coordinate with the different parties involved in the call. And there are very good initiatives, for instance, in the port of Hamburg, and with the support of shipping lines who are really playing the game. And I think this allows to have a very good call and well optimized, and also to facilitate the intermodal operations into the hinterland. There are some rail services departing, for instance, from Hamburg, and when the call is optimized on the seaside, the containers do not stay in the yard very long. This is valid, of course, for imports as well for exports. The last maybe initiative I would like to refer to is in terms of standardization. I think that the problem today is that within terminals, if you take just my industry, the port equipment manufacturers are selling equipment which is from one terminal to another one with different specifications, because the objectives, of course, are different, and there is a high level, of course, also of, I would say, competition issues, in the sense that each terminal wants to have the best TOS in the world. But very recently, actually 2 years ago, one of my members initiated a conversation with the port equipment manufacturers, saying that in the era of the fourth industrial revolution, that is the digitalization, the automation, and of course, all what we have to implement in the coming years in our maritime sector, I think it's time for us to work and adopt standards in terms of exchange of information. And therefore, the Terminal Industry Committee 4.0 has been established last year. It actually gathers most of the port equipment manufacturers and most of my members who are, I would say, there as companies. And they are working, and they will publish in a few days a first white paper defining standards in terms of exchange of information. I will just give an example. A move, if you talk what is a move in a terminal, which is the move of a container from one place, one location to another one, you will have as many definitions of a move as terminals that exist in Europe, at least. So the idea is actually to define, to have a common terminology in terms of the different concepts that are actually used in our industry, in order to enable an exchange of information, a machine-to-machine exchange of information that is standardized. And the objective is that actually all enhancements that are implemented in one terminal are also possibly, you can replicate them elsewhere. This Terminal Industry Committee, as I said, is releasing its white paper with the first results soon. And the good news is that we are not working as an industry alone. We have established good relationship with DCSA, which is the Digital Container Shipping Association, doing the same for the shipping industry. And the idea is now to work on how to connect actually these two parts of the logistic chain in terms of data sharing and communication, and how to enable an improvement and enhancement of the port-ship interface in terms of exchange of information. So these are, for me, the main, I would say, innovation I wanted to refer to, and I'm happy, of course, to answer any questions. Thank you.